William Tecumseh Sherman was born on February 8, 1820, in Lancaster, Ohio, into a large family of 11 children. His middle name, Tecumseh, honored the legendary Shawnee leader, a symbolic link to America's martial frontier spirit. After his father's death in 1829, Sherman was raised by Senator Thomas Ewing, a powerful Whig politician, who secured his appointment to West Point at just 16. At the academy, Sherman was brilliant yet unruly, known for his mathematical precision and biting humor. Graduating 6th out of 40, he displayed early mastery of military engineering and topography. His early postings in Georgia, South Carolina, and the Florida swamps during the Second Seminole War introduced him to the harsh realities of irregular combat, supply shortages, and the futility of limited war. These early lessons would later shape his uncompromising philosophy that victory required breaking not just armies, but society's capacity to resist. When the Mexican-American War erupted in 1846, Sherman, then a young first lieutenant, served with distinction in the 3rd U.S. Artillery. He operated mainly in administrative and logistical roles under Generals Zachary Taylor and Winfield Scott, witnessing the complex coordination of naval and ground operations from Veracruz to Mexico City. Though he did not see major frontline combat, Sherman closely studied the new weapons that defined this modern war: the 1841 6-pounder gun, Napoleon's smoothbore cannons, and the Springfield Model 1842 musket. He observed how rapid maneuvering, logistics, and morale often decided outcomes more than heroism. Returning home in 1850, Sherman noted in his reports that Mexico's destruction was less from battle than from the collapse of civil order, a precursor to his later belief in psychological and infrastructural warfare. By the war's end, the U.S. had gained massive territories, and Sherman had gained an education in the anatomy of total conflict. The peace that followed left Sherman restless. Promoted to captain, he resigned in 1853, seeking prosperity in California's gold rush economy. He joined a banking firm, Lucas, Turner and Company, but when the financial panic of 1857 hit, the venture collapsed, leaving him bankrupt. Reinventing himself once again, Sherman took an academic role as superintendent of the Louisiana Seminary of Learning and Military Academy in 1859, today's Louisiana State University. There, he earned the respect of cadets and faculty alike, modernizing military instruction and warning of the coming national storm. As Southern states seceded in early 1861, Louisiana offered him a Confederate commission, but he refused, declaring, "I will not fight for slavery." When he left Louisiana, he knew that civil war was inevitable. "You people of the South," he told a friend, "don't know what you are doing. This country will be drenched in blood, and God only knows how it will end." Sherman returned to the U.S. Army in May 1861, appointed colonel of the 13th Infantry Regiment. Assigned under Brigadier General Daniel Tyler, he led a brigade of about 2,500 men in the First Battle of Bull Run, near Manassas Junction, Virginia, on July 21, 1861. The Union's 35,000 soldiers clashed with 32,000 Confederates, both green and disorganized. Amid the chaos, Sherman's brigade fought valiantly on Henry House Hill, where Thomas "Stonewall" Jackson earned his nickname. Despite defeat, Sherman's composure and leadership stood out, even under heavy artillery and musket fire that killed nearly 3,000 men on both sides. Lincoln noted Sherman's courage and soon promoted him to Brigadier General of Volunteers. Yet Sherman saw deeper meaning in the loss. He told fellow officers, "This war will be long, measured in years, not months, and will test the will of the entire nation." Bull Run shattered illusions of a quick victory and awakened Sherman's sense of ruthless realism. After Bull Run, Sherman was sent to Louisville, Kentucky, to organize defenses against Confederate incursions. Facing disorganized troops, supply chaos, and inflated press expectations, he famously overestimated Confederate numbers, warning Washington that 200,000 rebels threatened Kentucky. The newspapers branded him insane, and he was temporarily relieved of command. Haunted by failure, Sherman withdrew to Ohio, battling depression. But Ulysses S. Grant, who saw his potential, gave him another chance. In March 1862, commanding a division of 15,000 men, Sherman fought at Shiloh, Tennessee. When Confederate forces under Albert Sidney Johnston launched a surprise attack, Sherman's stubborn defense around Shiloh Church helped prevent total collapse. He was wounded twice and had 3 horses shot under him, yet refused to leave the field. Shiloh's aftermath, 23,000 casualties, horrified both North and South. But it cemented Grant and Sherman's bond, forged in blood. Grant said, "If I had to name my successor, it would be Sherman." In 1863, Sherman became one of Grant's most trusted subordinates during the Vicksburg campaign, aimed at securing control of the Mississippi River, the Confederacy's main artery. His 15th Corps, around 30,000 strong, fought through swamps, bayous, and fortified bluffs. When early assaults at Chickasaw Bayou failed, Sherman regrouped, cutting Confederate supply lines and joining Grant's inland push. Union forces crossed the river at Bruinsburg, defeating the enemy at Champion Hill and Big Black River Bridge. During the 47-day siege of Vicksburg, Union artillery, including 20-pounder Parrott rifles and 13-inch mortars, rained shells upon the city, forcing General John Pemberton's 30,000 defenders into submission on July 4, 1863. The fall of Vicksburg split the Confederacy and gave the Union full control of the Mississippi. Sherman wrote to his wife, "This is a long step toward the end. The war is now a question of endurance." In the spring of 1864, now a major general, Sherman commanded the military division of the Mississippi, over 100,000 men across 3 armies: Thomas's Army of the Cumberland, McPherson's Army of the Tennessee, and Schofield's Army of the Ohio. His opponent, General Joseph E. Johnston, fielded about 60,000 Confederate troops entrenched in the hills of northern Georgia. Sherman's strategy was methodical: flank rather than assault, stretch supply lines, and exhaust the enemy. Through battles at Resaca, Kennesaw Mountain, and Peachtree Creek, his troops advanced 120 miles in 4 months. Artillery duels and skirmishes burned rail depots, munitions plants, and factories feeding the Confederate war machine. When Atlanta fell on September 2, 1864, the Union gained not only a military victory, but a political triumph, reviving Lincoln's re-election campaign. Sherman ordered the evacuation and destruction of military targets, declaring, "War is cruelty, and you cannot refine it." Sherman's most infamous campaign began in November 1864, when he cut communications with Washington and led 62,000 men from Atlanta to Savannah, a 285-mile path of calculated devastation. Divided into 2 wings, Howard's right wing and Slocum's left wing, his army advanced through Georgia's farmlands, destroying railroads, warehouses, cotton gins, and telegraph lines. They practiced foraging liberally on the country, living off captured livestock and corn. Soldiers twisted railway iron into Sherman's neckties and torched factories that fed the Confederate war effort. Opposed only by small militia forces and Joseph Wheeler's 5,000 cavalry, the march left Confederate morale shattered. By the time Sherman reached Savannah on December 21st, his troops had inflicted over $100 million in damages. In a telegram to Lincoln, he wrote, "I beg to present you the city of Savannah with 150 heavy guns and plenty of ammunition as a Christmas gift." After Savannah, Sherman turned north into the Carolinas in early 1865, commanding nearly 90,000 veterans. His plan was to crush the remnants of Confederate resistance by breaking the last supply centers at Columbia, Fayetteville, and Raleigh. In South Carolina, considered the birthplace of secession, his troops exacted harsh retribution, torching railroads, arsenals, and factories. The burning of Columbia on February 17, 1865, symbolized the death of the Confederate dream. In North Carolina, at Bentonville, March 19th to 21st, Sherman's forces clashed with Joseph Johnston's 21,000 men, inflicting heavy losses. By April 26th, after Lee's surrender at Appomattox, Johnston capitulated near Durham Station. Sherman's campaign had cut the Confederacy into pieces. Within weeks, the Civil War was over. His soldiers marched home as the most battle-hardened army in American history, veterans of the first true modern war. After the war, Sherman succeeded Grant as general of the army, 1869 to 1883, commanding U.S. forces during the turbulent years of Reconstruction and Western expansion. He reorganized the Army's structure, standardized officer training, and established the Command and General Staff School at Fort Leavenworth. Yet his Civil War legacy remains polarizing. To the south, he was a destroyer, the embodiment of terror. To the north, he was a savior who shortened the war and preserved the Union. His tactics of psychological warfare, infrastructure destruction, and civilian demoralization foreshadowed the strategies of World War II generals like Eisenhower and Zhukov. Sherman understood before others that war is not only fought on battlefields, but in the minds of those who wage it. His famous words still echo, "War is cruelty. There is no use trying to reform it. The crueler it is, the sooner it will be over."